Ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, Poland is a country of free people. Even when our bodies are bound by the physical bonds of totalitarianism, freedom still resides in our souls. Over the last few hundred years, this need for freedom has become part of our DNA. It is a national quality that we take this drive for freedom with us and promote it wherever we settle, including here on American soil. I look at our wonderful friends from the Polish community gathered in this room. We have representatives of the largest and the oldest Polish organization in the United States, representatives of business, the world of culture, and heroes of the events for which we are gathered here. Numerous Polish participants of some of the bloodiest battles of the Second World War almost exactly 80 years ago, whether the Battle of Monte Cassino or the Warsaw Uprising, learned after the war that for the new communist regime, there were traitors, spies that should be shot or hanged. Some of these cursed soldiers hid in the forest and continued to resist the Soviet troops and their communist puppets. Others resigned themselves to a life of freedom and exile in a new home in Western Europe, the United States, or elsewhere. Everywhere they settled, they brought their hunger for freedom. The physical need to participate in building a second Poland in the United States allowed the creation of mutual benefit organizations such as PRCUA, Polish Roman Catholic Union of America, or Polish National Alliance. But it was in response to the threat to Poland's independence and freedom posed by the Soviet Union that in 1944 the Polish-American Congress was born, bringing together the Polish-American diaspora and Polish exiles, deprived of their homeland, including veterans of various theaters of the Second World War. One of the first statements of the PAC was its condemnation of the Great Powers Agreement on the future of Poland and Eastern Europe after the war. The Congress was among the first in the United States to publicly denounce the Yalta Conference. I can proudly say that the PNA and PEC President Frank Spula, as well as James Robachewski, the President of PRCUA, the oldest Polish-American organization which celebrated last year 150th anniversary, are here with us today. The need to build second Polish home also set the rhythm of the activities of organization bringing together members of small homelands, making up our nation, such as the Alliance of Polish Clubs in the USA or the Polish Highlanders Alliance of the North America. Their representatives are also among us. The courage to fight for Poland's freedom that once guided those fighting on the multiple fronts of World War II transformed into a fight against the Soviet-installed communist regime in Poland. It influenced the stream of aid provided to Solidarity movement, and after the final Solidarity's triumph over pro-Moscow junta, it helped to convince President Bill Clinton and majority of the US Congress to first imagine, then accept, and finally support three former captive nation membership in NATO. They did so against Russia's wishes. When looking through archival articles in Dziennik Związkowy, the largest Polish-American newspaper, I cannot fathom the scale. Can you imagine how effective that advocacy campaign was, how many stood for freedom? When in late 1993, more than 100,000 people from the Polish-American community flooded the White House with letters asking for Poland to be admitted to the alliance. A few months later, during a meeting in the White House, President Bill Clinton told Edward Moskal, the president of Polish-American Congress, that the road to NATO was now open. The question was not if, but when and how. It took the next few years for proper answer. I'm very happy that Edward Moskow's family came to independence to accompany us. To sort of appease Russia, an important but only half measure was created, the Partnership for Peace program. The problem wasn't just Moscow. Work also had to be done in Washington. To ratify Poland's admission to NATO, it was necessary to persuade 67 out of 100 senators. When Polonia from Delaware invited a certain Joseph Joe Biden to a meeting, the then keynote speaker, Ambassador Jerzy Koźmiński, could only thank this expansion skeptic for, quote, asking difficult but important questions, end quote. The Polish community was tireless in its lobbying and well prepared. Soon, Senator Biden became one of the most ardent supporters of enlargement. And he remains so to this day, even as the President of the United States. And so, after 25 years, history has come full circle. We are now debating the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO. We must remember that we are even talking about this because a quarter of a century ago, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland opened NATO's door to other countries from Eastern Europe. As a Pole, as a diplomat, and as a historian, of course, I can proudly say that we did not disappoint the expectations placed on us. From the beginning, we were considered a reliable member. We took part in all NATO missions, as well as maneuvers, exercises, and trainings, hosting them numerous times. We spent the required 2% of our GDP on defense and recently surpassed that level, while developing and modernizing our armed forces. From the very beginning, Poland has also strongly supported Alliance open door policy. In 2004, with our strong support, as many as 7 then candidate countries joined NATO, including the Baltic states. 4 years later, at the Bucharest summit, Poland actively sought the adoption of a roadmap for membership, the preparation of Ukraine and Georgia for NATO membership. We have always been a nation that warned about the threats coming from Russia. But recently we have passed the most important test since joining the alliance, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, by providing our neighbor with direct, extensive support and playing a key role in the transfer of aid from the US and other NATO countries to Ukraine. I sincerely hope that both Poland and the United States will remain on this path because the alliance is a guarantor of global security. Ladies and gentlemen, let us remind you that today we are not only celebrating the 25th anniversary of the accession of our 3 nations to NATO. March 12 also marks the date when the Cold War symbolically began. On March 12, 1947, American President Harry Truman, in front of the US Congress, officially announced the doctrine of containing the expansion of the Soviet Union. Remember this. We are also celebrating the fact that on March 12, 1999, upon the accession of our 3 nations into NATO, at the ceremony in independence, at this very library, the Cold War came to a proper and practical end. We were back where we belong. Thank you. God bless Poland. God bless our history, brother countries, Hungary and Czech Republic. God bless America.